fight versus Team
Rock Esports, Kenotrope, all on the path to actually meet up over at Fragment fairly shortly. But for Na'Vi, they are taking their time. Again, this is a long rotation for Na'Vi. Coming out from Dome, might as well pick up every last bit of loot as you can. This is World's Edge.
Yeah, just play objective, you know, when the zone's pulling over to that north side. There is going to be a pretty big pileup, though, eventually. Fnatic, 100 Thieves, S8Ul, Furia, who have already found themselves on the north side of Overlook. And with the teams that are now rotating, it's important to also highlight the objectives that are on the edge of this zone, that things that these teams could try to gatekeep other squads, since the main objective in match point format is to get to 50 points. You want to be able to frag out, aside from getting that 12 points that you get from winning the game. There is a ring console over by Monument, a survey beacon too, closer by Fragment, another one over by No Name, as we see the replay here from TSM. So they lost out on Zero originally because Zero was trying to get to the Evil Harvester north of Survey Camp, because I don't believe there was an Evil Harvester by Climatizer. Sure, they could have gotten that information. That's why they sent Zero out, being on that ultra to get right back into position with the ultra ult that you were talking about, Jamerson.
ESM going to utilize that Alter just to check their low ground, and it is clear for the time being, but they've got the Newcastle setup, so they're going to play a little bit smaller for now. It's not the same kind of defensive setup that you would have with that Watson getting banned out so early on, but you have to imagine just keeping your back clear is going to be nice for them.
I like to see that Fafafi working into this composition that they're running with the Catalyst and the Crypto has opted for the Alter to pick up that blue perk that is the support perk, so when you get the res, you get that passive healing as well as being able to remotely loot your teammates' death box and get their banner, as well as getting a Moby. Could come in clutch if this pulls out into the open. You could use that Moby for some extra makeshift cover. Kenotrope still on the high ground, where we saw Jen Burden get a knock from 100 Thieves with that 30-30.
Yeah, 100 Thieves, basically dead center of the zone right now, but VK Gaming should be able to recover him and get him back into the game. QQ ends up going down again. I think there was an interesting stat on the walk-in where during their pool play, VK Gaming had the most knocks, or were knocked the most, despite their performance in the group. And there was one E-District game in particular where I remember QQ consistently just getting knocked down every 10 seconds or so. They were stuck in one of the stalls in E-District. Someone had sights on their toesies, and he was going down every few seconds. Right now. And there it is again. VK Gaming want to be able to pick up that, I don't know if I want to say it's an award, but...
I guess that makes sense. They run the Newcastle here too. Well, Phony then gets QQ again. McLovin wants to also put his name up on the kill feed, is able to get that knock onto IOI from E36. NIP looking behind him to make sure that no team walks up here on the next side of the zone, because they have information. QQ, High Purples, now taking turns from 100 Thieves to rotate how many knocks they can at least put on the stat board.
Stat farming! Liable ace! Now for Fnatic joining in, QQ will fall once more. I need to just know what's going on. What is going on with VK Gaming right now? I see them in position. I see them playing inside the truck. That's why. They're playing inside the truck right now. We don't have Watsons, and so a lot of utility can get in there, but also we have so many teams with the long-range options. So QQ, he's on the verge of instantly bleeding out the next time he ends up getting knocked.
I mean, they've dropped down their Evo shields out here too. Rough out here. Looking up ahead, too, at the teams all around them being inside this truck. Piku's going to get knocked once again. The res once again. And it's the Newcastle res back and forth as they go.
Oh, Phony once more. I think that's 8. 8 onto QQ alone for Alliance, though. They're able to get a nice knock onto Lou. That's going to be on the north side of the map, and it looks like Alliance might have been looking to get aggressive on that epicenter side. Unlucky, and in fact, we know how potent that duo! QQ! QQ! You can't just enjoy the view here on World's Edge. I get it. They cleared out the skybox. They made it nice and bright once again. But that was years ago. You've enjoyed this view plenty of times, QQ. All right? It's okay. It's okay.
They have their armor shields right there at their feet here, so it's inevitable at this point here to get taken out. both the Newcastle and QQ. As we take a nice little flyby here, but it's not the only action. TSM, rivals, Sentinels are still piled up on top of each other over by that southern building of Climatizer, but the zone is not pulling towards Climatizer despite it seeing that northern zone. It's actually pulling on top of these tracks. That's why we saw 100 Thieves here. That's why we see BKG here specifically too. It's the teams that are going to be by the rock side on the outskirts of Overlook that will be taking some of these pop shots.
Yeah, we've had a match point finals also end in a very similar position there where Furia currently are holding with Rock Esports along with Na'Vi. Looks like a finisher onto No Name of Wolves from Fnatic. Fnatic maintaining activity in that spot for themselves, but they've got to be a little bit careful. They've got Alliance that are back right now. It's an Alliance need to push up on them. Rivals Esports in the side of Climatizer proper are sandwiched in between two teams currently. Sentinels playing on the center side, TSM controlling the south side of this building for the time being. The scouts out there throw that drone though, and so they know about the threats around them.
Enemy over there.
Other teams here, Liquid, have now moved up into that center zone to see if they can find their spot over by Pride Rock on the outskirts of Overlook. And the only team right now who's committed to try to hold that position, because you can put yourself in the line of sight of a lot of teams holding these 30-30s. They put down the Void Nexus just to allow the rest of Team Liquid to close in that gap. And Rival Esports also now make their move outside of the building of Climatizer. Alliance are staring down currently at Fnatic. 100 Thieves, as the side-by-side are still being able to get these knocks on the QQ as we saw before. I mean, they dropped down their Evo shields. That's why it was happening.
It's Gen G versus Engine Force 36 right now, and Gen G have the 1v2. Illy was down to 1 HP, and Ziki comes in for this flank. Nice win there for Gen G that clears out their path to get into the zone. But as they're resetting, as they're getting the reses and healing up, Kinotrope Gaming and Ninjas in Pajamas are moving. But this was the threat of Alliance now pushing forward on to Fnatic. The Catalyst wall has been thrown down, but here are the nades from Unlucky. Effect tries to charge forward, but he's taking a lot of damage, but it's Unlucky consistently throwing down the support nades.
Oh my gosh, Unlucky. I mean, with the Fusey out here too, the Arc Stars, the nades, literally booted and evicted Fnatic off of this high ground. It's really only Colonel Garcia with the red Evo. He's got the red helmet on. Nice triple take here too. Looks like they were able to get access to the Mythic Pins here as Fnatic in some trouble. After they felt the pressure from the nades, they left Colonel Garcia alone. They dropped down, and now Colonel Garcia was isolated. See the drop down in tier 2 with the altered portal, and nothing Fnatic can do here to stay alive. Alliance does dish out way too much pressure.
Sentinels coming in for the third party though. TSM were eyeing this one, but Alliance are able to get up to the top. Hawkus in his drone. They don't know he's quite there yet. The threat of TSM coming in for the third party allows Alliance to go for the full reset. Panic stuck on the low ground, down to about 20 HP, and Hawkus is caught out. It's going to be harder to finish him off.
And Alliance losing out on Hockey Sentinels. They're saying, don't sleep on us. Putting their name on the board here in this lobby. They are going to be able to try to get this res, but right behind them, Sentinels want to try to fully send this. Carter losing out on so much health. It's only up to Riley. Can you clutch this out? No, you can't. But right behind him, 13 squads left as Alliance win the fight.
Team Liquid throwing a lifeline out to Alliance. We have to, of course, always mention when it comes down to Unlucky, along with the fact that 2v3 is there, but not when a third party comes in. But this is an onslaught from TSM. EMP nades out. Yanya gets a knock onto Jet. Team Liquid are keeping Alliance alive.
They're literally from afar taking shots at them with a 30-30. You know that was just one bullet when he was one shot. That is so infuriating from afar here, but even better for Alliance to clutch out this fight as just Effect and Unlucky to get this res. We've seen them do it before as this duo looks unstoppable, but can it be enough with S8Ul now showing up?
S8Ul Wolves, who just got knocked out. Alliance finally go down. S8Ul pick up nothing off of this one, but they will stick around for the time being. TSM, Ninjas in Pajamas, all stacked up on Murder Bridge as Ninjas in Pajamas. McLovin takes a lot of damage here, but he'll be able to back off. One drops down. Sharky and Jess go down. Vayne bleeding out on the floor as they want to finish off this fight.
Oh, having to be careful, but McLovin's going to be able to call in or see if you put up that cat wall, then having to navigate over into that Void Nexus. Disengaging here. TSM looking down below before Panic with the red Evo has all these death boxes to loot out of. not engaging in any fight thus far. Team Liquid directly smack dab in the middle of these rocks. BKG, by the way, were still able to farm those Evo shields by constantly getting the reses. That's what they were doing earlier on before.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think you need 9, 10 rocks.
Yeah, that's why they keep doing it too, you know? Like, when you're holding a position like that, you're denying yourself the opportunity to play objectives. So they have to make do with what they got. That's why they drop those Evo shields. That's why we see those funny stats. It's to get that charge here. As it's only up to Phony, because right behind them, they were fixated on VKG, but they didn't clear their backs against S8Ul.
Now S8Ul charge forward with that mobile shield, finishing off 100 Thieves. VK Gaming get the ultimate laugh in the end there. S8Ul unfortunately still stuck on blues here in round number 4 closing. VK Gaming holding that northern side up against TSM. Catalyst wall out. VK Gaming might get sandwiched here by S8Ul, but they can turtle up. There's the knock onto Jesco. Once again, Team Liquid coming from afar, taking some of these kills, but it keeps VK Gaming alive for now.
And here VK Gaming now down to the wire. TSM Panic continuously still picks up KP here, but getting pinged from afar by a G7. As we get the Newcastle res, we get the reset, the passive regen, but this Newcastle wall is just enough to keep VKG alive and to send TSM back to the lobby.
7 squads, 20 players left. VKG, we were talking about how good they are at securing top 5s, but can they do it here? Rival Esports charging forward with the EMP, but the Catalyst wall slowing things down. And there's the first knock, but Gupgot goes down next. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. The Newcastle res does not go off.
I don't want to see this out here. The way we've seen Apex South pop off, of VKG still alive. A flow having to try to jump over the tech boss because now Team Liquid trying to capitalize on the opportunity on the 3P. Rival Esports get eliminated. 5 squads left. And luckily for Team Liquid, who have moved here early with the Alter Void Nexus, have found themselves right back where they belong.
I thought they were going to have more KP for themselves with how often they were showing up on the kill feed, but it was just a lot of knocks after knocks from range. Still, they've done a great job of whittling down that northwest side of the map, have Team Liquid. They have to deal with Na'Vi to their east, who are working on peppering them, and they've got ninjas in pajamas just below them. 2 teams to the south right now. It's going to be Jen